And a deflection this time off of the inbound. Kerskeeter with the steal. You don't see that very often, but that just goes to show you the active hands of KU.
And length. Oh.
Lob ahead for Jackson, and a good job by Bell to cut it off. She wanted Morrow in transition, and Morrow wasn't looking.
Well, and she's straight on, so Morrow's right in front of her. So even if it wasn't an errant pass, that would have been a really difficult pass to catch over your head. So you have to have an angle on that. That had bad written all over it.
Turnovers for both teams, a little flurry of them over the last 2.5 minutes. So KU will bleed the clock down. Brandon Schneider calling out a play for Nichols to attack. And two Jayhawks are right next to each other. That was either Jackson or Ryan Cobbins that last touched it. Might be too late for Wichita State to cash in the turnover. Bell didn't get it off. So Kansas has progressively gotten better with the points from the first quarter to now. Wichita State has steadily gone down. That's why we have a 56-38 game after 3. 17 times. This is a Jayhawk team, Tracy, that only gives it away about a dozen times per game. But on the other hand, that is what Wichita State's good at. They turn over their opponents to the tune of about 17 per game. But all the other categories, Jayhawks have enjoyed the advantage on, I think almost all of them. Most importantly, the score, 21-11 in that third quarter.
Yeah, but you know, you get into Big 12 play, and those 17 turnovers are going to be turned into points. So they're going to have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. But like you said, a lot of that's contributed because I think Shockers have been really aggressive and pesky and trying to make it as difficult as possible for this really talented offensive KU team.
And statistically, prior to today, the Jayhawks had been pretty good on the boards, but Wichita State has kind of shut off their water on the glass. That's now, I believe, plus 11 for Wichita State after that latest Shocker rebound. Yankin cut off. But to your point, Tracy, the turnovers, that's a plus for Wichita State. The rebounds, that's been a plus for Wichita State. But not often enough have the Shockers been able to turn that into something.
Right. And part of that is because the Jayhawks, I think, have done a really good job of transitioning defensively and getting back when they have turned the ball over. And it's also the types of turnovers that you force. If you're not forcing them out on top of the perimeter, then it's easier to at least set your defense.
Jackson avoided a travel by throwing it up toward the rim. Pretty heads-up play by her as she had 3 Shockers collapsing around her. There's one of your coin flips right there, Tracy. Who was to blame there? The screen setter or the one using it? I think there was plenty of fault to go around there.
Yeah, I think both, but I really do think more. See, she's already that was the screener, obviously Jackson. But also Nichols started her dribble way before she even got there. So I agree with you. I think it was both of them.
That was close, yeah.
Yeah.
Morrow wants back-to-back threes. That one wouldn't go down. Murray with the offensive rebound. Job with the turnaround. That wouldn't go.
But just like that, like you said, Shane, they got an offensive rebound, and it looked like Job had a clear jump shot, but she knows the length of the Jayhawks, so she took a fade away instead of just catching and going up with it. And that just tells you that the length of the Jayhawks is in the back of all of their minds.
I was thinking the exact same thing. 18 offensive rebounds have only turned into 8 second chance points for Wichita State. And even when they're not there, you think they are.
Right. That's a lot. That's a lot of offensive boards to only get 8 points off of that.
Morrow couldn't finish. Pretty good contest by Skylar Gill from behind.
But a nice move by Morrow.
That stat played Wichita State's men last night at Entrust Bank Arena. They had a boatload of offensive rebounds, but couldn't find the basket and lost to South Dakota State.
And that's what's so frustrating because I really believe offensive rebounding is an effort statistics, and so you hope that when you get those those 50-50 balls and those effort statistics that they actually work out for more points, but it just hasn't been the case for the Shockers tonight. But I think number one has a lot to do with that.
One has a lot to do with it, is right. Nichols, will that count?
Yes.
I believe it will. Yes, it will. Samaya Nichols with an opportunity at a three-point play. That's Murray's fourth. Boy, that is tough finish. Sometimes your player is just better than the other player.
Yep.
That's the analysis for that Nichols three-point play right there.
I mean, look at that statistic. 7 of 9 from the field as a freshman.
And I think that kind of extends the conversation that we were having when it comes to how does Brandon Schneider manage the minutes and what is he expect from Nichols. Sometimes it's really simple. Nichols is better than the player guarding her, so get her the ball.
Right. You know, and what a gift to have at the end of game shot situations. You know, you can just do a clear out to her, and she's got so much in her game. She's strong. You can post her. She spins. She has a little fadeaway. She can shoot the three. So that's a really great gift to have in your pocket, and that is a gift because she's very gifted.
No question.
She's very talented, but I also think she plays really hard. You know, she has an energy about her.
Moving forward, Wichita State's going to need something from DJ McCarty, who has been a little bit up and down over the last 3 or 4 games. She just made those last 2 free throws, but McCarty, the most experienced Shocker on the roster. She's played in over 100 games as a Shocker. She only has 4 points here today, and if they're going to be in games like this down the road, DJ McCarty, there's going to be a lot asked of her.
Yeah, and she needs to produce. She's not 100% yet, though. She's still a little hobbled, and you can watch her. She's very tentative on some situations, so she's not 100%. When they got to get her healthy, especially before conference starts. But they, you know, Treasure Joe comes in with a lot of experience, just not experienced at this level, but she has a lot of experience, and they just got to find their way.
And McCarty creates contact and will go to the line. That's maybe what she does best. She's got that little teardrop in the lane when she pulls up, but she's also not afraid to try to put her head down and get all the way to the rim and go to the free throw line as a result.
She likes to get in the paint, and she's very good at it. And she's strong. You know, some kids think that they're drivers, but they don't do a good job of getting downhill. She does a really good job of getting downhill and getting her shoulders turned. It's really hard for a defender to get her all the way shut out. And I think if she continues to do that and not settle on her three early in the game, but really, you know, attack the basket, and then her three will come. She's just not as efficient from the three-point line yet.
Nichols got all the way to the basket and laid it in. There you talk about one of the intangibles with Nichols, and that's patience.
Yes.
She doesn't have to go 90 miles an hour all the time.
Yes.
Timeout on the floor as the Jayhawks continue to dominate here in Wichita. Kansas gets 3 games in a row at home back at Allen Fieldhouse, and they are 6.5 minutes or so away from their first true road win of the season for Brandon Schneider. KU since the first quarter, Tracy, has just been a model of efficiency offensively. Now, of course, the rebounds and the turnovers we pointed out, but shot selection and ball going through the hoop. Can't ask for much more than that on the road.
You know, they were 72% in the second quarter, 66% in the third quarter. That's just outstanding. And people can say, well, yeah, the Shockers didn't play great D, and I thought they were pretty solid defensively. It's just that the Jayhawks do such a good job of finding the person who's open in the right situation.
It's been a pleasant surprise to see Morrow do what she's done if you're a Shocker fan. She's got 11 points, and none of us have been able to see her until today. It's her first game.
Yeah, now you can see kind of why Coach Nooner is so excited about her and was anxious to get her on the floor, because like you said, she can do a lot of different things. She loves to shoot the three, but she also likes to get in and battle, and she's long. So she's really going to help them, I think, on both ends of the floor.
And today she's 4 out of 6 from 2-point range. And from the seat of her pants, Abias pulls down that rebound. That was way over everything. Fired up by Gill, but a good job by Abias to read it.
There's Bell.
And Bell with an offensive rebound, rejected, but she's going to go to the line. And Tiana Jackson is having a laugh at that particular call by Nicole Brannon, which was a foul, which, whether it was or whether it wasn't.
Yeah. But that was one of the few times I actually think, Jackson was kind of over the top. She wasn't straightforward, but I just love Belle. If her energy is on the bench, she doesn't play a ton of minutes, but she's always very energetic on the bench. And when she gets in, she just looks like she's having fun and she's enjoying the game and being competitive. So
2-shot foul.
You got to love that. You got to love those kids, because they put in the same, they put in the hours, they do the grind. So it's not easy coming off the bench and performing. And
Bell with 6 points. Jackson has 4 fouls now, so she will go out. And for the second time, we will see Denai Papadopoulou. She was in there for about 3 minutes in that first half.
Yeah, she's a power post player, international player, has really good footwork.
She actually had 8 points in 9 minutes against HCU, number 14 in Crimson, who was open, but Gill elected to take the shot herself, and the offensive rebound and put back by Cobbins. That'll please Coach Brandon, because the offensive rebound's been few and far between for the Jayhawks today.
The Shockers have done a good job of keeping them off the boards, but I think a little bit of that, too, is that KU just didn't really make it a point to attack the offensive boards, and they're going to have to offensive rebound in conference play.
Bell hits another triple. Anaya Bell with 9 points off the Shocker bench, including 2 of their 4 3-point makes.
I tell you, Shane, if young kids are watching this, I think that's just a testament to, you may not be the starter, you may not play double-digit minutes, but when you have your opportunity, you got to do the most that you can to make the most out of that opportunity, and Bell's done that, and I think that's a tribute to perseverance and resilience.
Bell tried to muscle Nichols away from the ball and got ticketed with a foul. After a pretty good rest, Zakiya Franklin, point guard, comes back in for KU with a couple of reserves for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, she's not used to that. she's not used to the sit position. She's used to being on the floor.
Conessa checks back in. She receives the inbound. She played briefly in that first half.
But, Shane, not just individual games, but when you get, you're in a 30-game season and it gets down to, conference and championships and the NCAA tournaments, those minutes add up, and you need a fresh body. You need your body to be a little bit rested. And so, I know kids love to play as many minutes as possible, but it's good officiating.
By the way, while we've been conversing, this KU 22-point lead is kind of dissolving a little bit. Bell wants her third 3 and got it. Anaya Bell with 12 points off the bench, and this is a 10-point game.
That's what the 3 can do, Shane. Franklin did it for the Jayhawks, and now Bell's done it for the Shockers.
And a 2-on-1 in transition. McCarty will go to the free throw line. This is a 6-0 Shocker run, and just like that, Tiana Jackson is going to come back in the game, even with the 4 fouls. Speaking of fouls, a foul by Conessa will send McCarty to the free throw line.
But a good job of contesting that, making sure she didn't get the bucket. Now she's got to knock it down for from the free throw line.
So Wichita State has outscored KU by 8 here in the fourth quarter. And is it at least making Brandon Schneider a little bit antsy over there on the Jayhawk sideline? So McCarty with 6 points. Most importantly, she was 4 out of 4 from the line before that miss. And the Shockers have been chipping away at that Jayhawk lead from the stripe. Plus 7 from the free throw line today.
And Shane, that's what contesting every shot matters, because that had a likelihood of being a 3-point play.
Yeah.
But the Jayhawk defender, fouled her, put her to the line. So, it could have cut it to a 7-point lead. It's still a 9-point lead, and that's really big. That would have been huge if it had been a 3-point play as opposed to a single point.
This is where the KU experience figures to show up. And a shuffle of the feet down in the lane by Nichols. Just as I say, the experience. They tossed it into the freshman, Nichols, who turned it over. But, boy, credit Wichita State. A 7-0 run has this one still in doubt when it looked like it was going to be a Jayhawk runaway.
And that's the only thing Nichols has done poorly today. That's her 5th turnover. But again, that's going to come with experience.
Joe draws a double team. Double dribbled, I think. Maybe got away with it.
That's what I thought.
Morrow tried to beat the buzzer, and out of bounds it goes. Boy, KU with a defensive stand that it really needed. It was triggered by Jackson double-teaming Treasure Joe, and that led to a forced shot by Morrow that didn't draw any iron. Look at Terry Nuno over there on the Shocker sideline, hands on knees, begging for a defensive stop to try to pull off an improbable, gigantic comeback here in the second half. Mayberry banks it in.
There's that senior leadership. Such calming presence Mayberry brings to this team. It's like there's no panic. No reason to force things.
She's staying right with Treasure Joe, too.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to do.
Murray fell down, got it back, and Terry Nooner wanted to avoid a disaster and calls a timeout. We'll stay here with KU leading by 11. One of the keys to the game at the very beginning, we thought it was for KU to keep Wichita State guessing. They got a lot of different players that they can go to. Well, you look at the stat sheet now, Tracy. Mayberry with 10, Jackson has 13 and 10 rebounds. Nichols, the freshman, has 18, and Franklin 14. It seems like there's been different parts of the game where one has taken over the game for that particular part of the minutes.
Absolutely, and Franklin was huge for a stretch that gave them the big lead, and then Jackson's been Jackson, and they're just so talented, and I love the fact that they have so many assists on attempts. 15 assists from my last count. So they epitomize a team. They don't have the one star. They've got several stars that play very well together.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned that KU goes home after this, and they'll take on Central Arkansas on Saturday. And then West Virginia starts Big 12 play. They'll have them at Allen Fieldhouse. Meanwhile, Wichita State goes on the road to Missouri State, former Missouri Valley Conference foe, and then one more tune-up before the American, then Tulane comes to town a couple days before the new year.
And the Shockers have had a good non-conference schedule. They've had lots of different types of teams, different styles of play, which I firmly believe you have to do. You have to get into all different types.
Yep.
It's a good shot.
They did that with St. Louis, who went to the tournament last year. Southeastern Louisiana, even though they're a little lesser-known program from the South, and they went to the tournament a year ago. KU won the WNIT, so you knew they weren't very far away from it being an NCAA tournament team either. Nichols got loose. She wants a three and bangs it in. Samaya Nichols' first triple, so now she's done officially everything today. She's got 21 points. She's only missed twice. That is now back-to-back season highs in points. 20 against HCU, 21 here today.
And you just can see she's going to have a tremendous career at KU. But a lot of it's going to be if they can continue to bring in players that, you know, complement her, because it's, like I said, you've got scores all around her.
Now,
and you have the big one right there that just, you have to put so much emphasis on Jackson that, you know, as a guard, you know, she's so fun. She's fun to watch.
Now, even if Wichita State would have gotten a stop 2 times ago, coming all the way back from 11 with about a minute and a half left to go would have been a lot to ask. But as it was, Nichols just buried that 3. It was a cold-blooded 3, and as it turned out, that's probably going to be a bridge too far for the Shockers.
Absolute dagger. Well, and especially when you have scores from all positions. And you know, the Jayhawks have played really good defense. So when you have a lead and you're a really strong defensive team, it creates a lot more ease. You don't panic.
Yeah, Wichita State's only made 34% from the floor on 19 of 56. I was going to say this about 10 minutes or so ago, but we talked about Wichita State offensive rebounding and turning teams over. If they consistently continue to do that, as KU looks like it's going to pull away once and for all here, if Wichita State can continue to pound the offensive glass, turn teams over, and get somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 field goal attempts per game, you got something there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you know, with having Morrow back and now Murray, you know, it gives them some more offensive juice. I thought they were really struggling finding that third offensive scorer outside of McCarty and Job and Obvious, but they need some consistency. They need, you know, you can get somebody who's 9-10, 2 additional players. I think both those players can, you know, give you 9-10 points a game. That's huge.
Well, about midway or late in the third quarter, we were kind of wrestling with the idea of either Franklin or Nichols being our player of the game, but Samaya Nichols may have overheard us, and all she's done is go for 23 points and 4 assists, and she's only missed twice from the floor.
Yeah, she's saying, Shane, Tracy, there's no question. Why are you questioning that?
We're sorry we doubted you, Samaya.
But that's what a blessing to have. You know, you have 2 kids that you're kind of in a debate about. And Jackson, you know, Jackson's done a lot of things defensively to change the game. So we got a technical foul.
And free throw good by Jackson. It's an intentional foul.
Okay.
Is the call, because I was wondering, because Jackson is not a particularly good free throw shooter, so if it was a technical, why would she be shooting them? But it was called an intentional foul on Janiyah Thompson, apparently holding her away from the ball a little bit too aggressively. That'd be my guess. But this one is all but put to bed. Jackson with those 2 free throws, 15 points, 11 rebounds, another double-double for her. That's 32 double-doubles for Jackson in her career. Shockers, it looks like, are content just to play this one out. It's going to be a similar result to last year. 72-54 was the final in Lawrence. And Mayberry banks it in at the end of the shot clock. She'll go to the free throw line, where you just don't know where it's going to come from for KU. They've got one-on-one, they've got high-low, they got clear out for Jackson.
I mean, they used all of the time, and Mayberry the ball never left her hands. She just waited. Good, excellent body control.
And I don't know if anybody ever has a perfect roster, but Brandon Schneider, the way he's built this roster, you got a lot of seniors, which we've talked about throughout the course of the day. Mayberry can go one-on-one. Samaya Nichols can go one-on-one. You can clear out for Jackson, who's 6'6", and you can post her up all day long if you think you want to. Kersgeter, when you leave her, she's going to make some threes.
Yeah.
And Zakiah Franklin is the engine that makes it all go, the point guard that's played the most minutes in KU history. So that's a heck of a place to start. You lay out all that stuff out on the table, and you got a lot of ways to win games. And
Yes.
KU did it today.
And they like to defend, and that's going to help because they're going to face really talented players in the Big 12, but they like to defend, and I think when it's all said and done, they're going to be vying for that Big 12 big title.